morning. Today we're looking at the hills comprehension. So make sure you've got the handout in front of you. It should look like this. It's a poem and some questions. Okay, called The Hills. Now remember, we've been looking at similes and metaphors to see if we can spot any in this poem. Sometimes I think the hills that loom across the harbour lie there like sleeping dragons, crouched one above another, with trees for tufts of fur growing all up and down the ridges and humps of their backs, and orange cliffs for claws dipped in the sea below. Sometimes a wisp of smoke rises out of the hollows, as if in their dragon sleep they dreamed of strange old battles. What if the hills should stir some day and stretch themselves, shake off the clinging trees and all the clustered houses? That's by Rachel Field. I'm going to read it again. If you look at the illustration, I think you can really see why they do look like dragons. I think great. So I'll read it one more time and then we'll look at the questions. Sometimes I think the hills that loom across the harbour lie there like sleeping dragons, crouched one above another, with trees for tufts of fur growing all up and down the ridges and humps of their backs, and orange cliffs for claws dipped in the sea below. Sometimes a wisp of smoke rises out of the hollows, as if in their dragon sleep they dreamed of strange old battles. What if the hills should stir some day and stretch themselves, shake off the clinging trees and all the clustered houses? Okay, now before you answer the questions, I want you to read that again, because that will help you I think you can read the questions first and then go back and read the poem again, and then you can start attacking it with your highlighter when you need to. Okay, so we've got, what does the poet think the hills could be? Question 1, that's quite straightforward. What do the trees look like? Number 2. Number 3, what do the orange cliffs look like? Number 4, what are they dreaming of? And number 5, what does the poet wonder about in the last 4 lines of the poem? So those are quite easy, I think, and you should be able to answer those from reading the poem. Then we look at the language. Number 6, explain the meaning of these words as they're used in the poem. Use a dictionary to help you. Now, I do understand some of you don't have dictionaries at home, so do the best you can on this one. You can Google the meaning of the word if you haven't got a dictionary at home. But if you do have a dictionary, I really strongly urge you to use it, because it's really good practice to be able to use a dictionary. So the first one is loom, and that's something kind of towering over you. Okay, there are other words, other meanings of the word loom, but that's what this one is. We've got crouched, something that's crouching down low. A wisp, I think that's the wispy smoke. Hollows, stir and clustered. Now hopefully you should be able to look up the meanings of all of those and write them down. Try not to just write it as you think the answer is. If you can use a dictionary to answer those, that would be helpful to you. Now, numbers 7 to 12, exploring the similes and metaphors. So now we all know what metaphors are. We should be able to do this one. It says number 7, the hills the poet is describing are across the harbour. Doesn't make sense. Do you think they are very near or at a distance? Explain your reasons. Okay, so I can't answer that one for you. I can't give you any help with that. You have to, that's your reasons, so you have to decide. Number 8, if the poet walked towards the hills, would they look A, more like dragons, or B, less like dragons? And you must explain your answer. Number 9, what do you think the wisp of smoke could be in the poet's imagination? Okay, that's quite a nice question. Number 10, what do you think it actually is? Okay, that's what do you think it is? Number 11, why do you think the dragons would be dreaming of old battles? And number 12, how do you think the poet would feel if one day the hills should stir? Yes, that would be quite exciting, wouldn't it? Now, you probably won't have time to do any more than that. If you do have time, if you do find you've got the time to go on, you could have a look at number 13, taking it further. It says look out of your classroom window. Obviously, your classroom is now your home, so have a look out of your window and half close your eyes. You all will be looking at different things, but if you half close your eyes, in your imagination, what animal can you see? Describe the parts of your animals. What can you compare each part of your animal to? that's really tricky, and some of you will be able to do it better than others, depending on where you are. And you probably may not have time to get onto that one, but if you do, I'd be really excited actually to see what you can see from your window. Okay, remember when you're going back to look through the poem to find your answers, if you need to highlight or underline anything, please do. That will really help you. Remember to check your spellings with the text. You can answer this in your books and take a photo of it, or you can answer it straight onto Showbie. The choice is yours. Okay, be brilliant. I will see you soon.